Hey, what's up everybody? It is Kellen here from Start Your Systems and welcome back to mxvsatv Legends, where today we're going to be talking about the version 1.08 patch that just released in the game this past Friday. I was not in town. I was working the Washougal National for RacerXOnline.com, so I was not back until Sunday and just trying to get around to kind of catching up on some things. So we're going to talk about this patch, some things that have changed with Legends, some things that feel better, some things that feel different, maybe not always better is different, but we'll talk a little bit about it and kind of go through things that they've updated step by step in the process. So let's just get right into the patch notes, starting off with the control settings menu, which is something that a lot of people were frustrated with because there was no way to adjust your controls, and obviously manual transmission is a way that a lot of people are playing the game. They have updated the configuration options, but they've not made it fully customizable yet, so they just say additional button configurations for manual and automatic transmission settings, and then includes configurations with shifting on buttons instead of just sticks. So still not fully customizable, but at least some different configurations for you guys to try. And then the next thing that they also talked about introducing was the 2022 AMA Pro Motocross Championship, like extended versions of it. So now they have the Loretta Lynn's Amateur National unlocked, and then you also have online playlists for the 2022 AMA Pro Motocross Championship DLC, which again, I still, for online purposes, wish that they would have some more easily set upable configurations where you could do some stuff with your lobbies of friends that you're within and such, but they really don't. So you just kind of like stuck with doing these pre-made playlists, and you can't really do like full-blown custom lobbies. You just either play on the main compound with your mates, or you do online races with other people. I still wish there's a better way for that, but maybe they're working towards that. And then for online, they do say that DLC support for dedicated servers and online playlists has been added, and then free ride trails for online playlists has been added as well. So again, just more playlists, nothing really beyond that is mind-breaking, but at least different options. I guess that's kind of a good thing, right? From there, we get into kind of the more nitty and gritty. It starts off with an update to menus and the HUD. So for the HUD, you can hide it during the end of the race sequence now. Before, it used to kind of lag out and just kind of stay there for the end sequence, which looked a little bit weird. The speedometer is displayed during gate drop sequence now as well, so you can see kind of your RPM range, which doesn't really matter too much for whole shot purposes, but it's something you can see, and what gear you're in. It fixes the camera glitching, jittering, and pause menus when navigating or moving the camera, and improved lighting and visual detail in the pause menu. So just a couple like real minor fixes. I think that was just kind of cleaning up some things that they were already going to clean up for this patch that they just included with some of the other major fixes. Now let's get to the real nitty gritty, the major physics tweaks that they have done. And first of which, you can see a lot of what changed with what I'm doing right here. The first one is improved automatic shifting logic to prevent random loss of momentum due to the automatic clutch not working properly. Now, all these clips I'm showing you on the video is all done with automatic transmission. I'd been using manual specifically up until this patch, basically, because the automatic shifting was garbage. It was really, really hard to maintain in the right RPM range and the right gear and stuff like that. So this is now what the automatic shifting looks like. You can see it's much more flowy and easier to get a grip of. They improved the automatic shifting logic when downshifting to keep the engine in a better RPM range per gear as well. So that's another thing, just to kind of improve the, bottom range RPM up to the higher level. It makes it feel like the engine doesn't bog out or over rev in certain spots. And then here's kind of the big ones that they're starting to work on. Improved suspension to reduce the amount of bounciness, or bounces I should say, that can happen when landing hard and bottoming out. Improved wreck avoidance and wreck triggers so they are more consistent across all MX bikes. Increased overall traction to make hitting ruts and turning sharp easier and more rewarding. Those three things right there, I think the three things that people really wanted to hit on, because there's a lot of sliding, there's a lot of bouncing, and there's a lot of random crashing in the first iteration of this game that people were really upset with. Definitely the sliding is much more toned down. That first clip that I showed you, the video that I showed you of me playing the Bighorn track, that was with the stiffest suspension settings I could do for the KTM 450, and you could see that it really wasn't as bouncy. This is my more soft suspension that I use for Supercross, because I still don't like how bouncy it is in transition to jump sometimes. So you can see kind of how it looks, though, how it flows. Definitely looks a little bit smoother, at least to me, with transitions and stuff like that. And then a couple things at the end here. They increased deformation physics feedback to improve the behavior in ruts and elsewhere. Fixed for missing VFX on ATV and UTV in some cases, and improved look of roost and dust, which you can basically see on the screen right here. It still kind of kicks out weird in some regards, but when it's right behind and kicking up that roost right behind the bike, it definitely looks really good and cool. And then beyond that, beyond the physics engine side of things, they improved a bunch of stuff with environments and terrain. Fix for rendering issue with jumbotrons in some stadiums. So this looks like the rendering with this jumbotron. No problems there. Fix for trails, flags, banners, signage not being in the correct color in several cases. Fix for floating assets under some progression scenarios in the compound. Fix issue with terrain deformation not working in some maps. Improvement to terrain deformation behavior and rate, especially in Supercross, which you're seeing right here, kind of how the lines develop and how they look and where they go. And general improvements and bug fixes. Again, that's just one of those things that they were probably ironing out the details from week 1 and getting some of those done there. And I genuinely feel like some of the terrain deformation looks better. It doesn't look like it creates those 3 ruts that people were talking about. And then we move into the audio, which is updated music tracks in game. Fixes to music player for more consistent volume and quality. Updated 250R engine sound, which we just saw the Supercross gameplay. That's the 250R engine sounds. They'll sound way different than the initial iteration. I don't know if I'm a fan of them yet, but they're okay. They're not too bad. Improvements to drive-on sound, which I don't really know too much what that means, but you can definitely hear some like a little better ambience. It doesn't sound like it's overbearing with some of the foliage brushes and stuff like that. And then the engine sounds seem a little bit more fluid and reactive, like going through trees and stuff. So that's better. And then the last little bit here that they have just included in the miscellaneous tab is more AI pro riders added, loading times improved, fix for team members being unavailable / not interactable, and blocking career progress. Fix for common crash when loading into events in Vallis Desert Map, and various other small bug fixes. Now, basically, you know, there's a lot of things that are in this patch, and some of it I think is definitely for the better. A lot of the physics stuff that they did is a lot better. Again, I don't know so much if I'm happy with the changes in the engine sounds and stuff like that. But generally speaking, what I think I want to get across with this video today is, look, they had a huge update. It's only been a couple weeks since the game has come out, and they're still working on more and more updates and looking at community feedback. They already had the v1.07 update, which was, I think, a week and a half after the game released, and now we're a few weeks out after the game came out, and they have this huge v1.08 update, which addresses a lot of the physics questions that people are having now. Personally, I think that there still needs to be some adjustments with the in-air physics and the gyro of the motorcycle that needs some kind of definite retuning, but really just kind of a rethinking of how a motorcycle reacts to moving through the air a little bit. I think that there's some things they need to clean up with that. As we know from the beginning, the level design was incredible, and the aesthetics of this game were immense, but there's still so much missing with customization and kind of depth to career mode that I think that they could add on to as it goes on. And obviously some of those online issues that I talked about that they still need to really fix with the ability to create your own lobbies and do your own races and stuff like that with your friends. I think those are definite things they need to tackle, but at least physics-wise, ground deformation-wise, things like that, they are making some improvement. Is it huge, overnight, massive changes that everyone's going to love and it's going to make the game way better? I don't know that that's entirely true yet, but I do think that for me, at least as a player of the game, I've definitely enjoyed the fixes that they have made with this version versus what I was playing on before. It's easier to run consistent laps. It's easier to know where that traction level is in the corners. It's easier to go over bumps and not feel like you're going to get kicked to the moon. These pro motocross tracks are definitely a lot of fun and a really unique challenge. I've had fun, pushing the limits on them, trying to get some better lap times and stuff like that. So overall, like I said, the overarching theme I want to tackle with this is, it's just awesome that they're listening to community feedback this early on and making this drastic of changes. If you played the game on day one, I promise you it feels much different now than it did on the first day. And I think that they're going to continue making those small improvements and small adjustments. And kudos to them, because not everybody does listen to community feedback. And I think so far they've done a tremendous job at least listening. So is this game fixed? Is it perfect yet? No, there's a lot of things to fix, but we're getting there. So that is the update on v1.08 patch in mxvsatv Legends. If you guys have any more questions, please let me know in the comment section below. But thank you guys for tuning in to another video here on Start Your Systems, and we'll see you guys in the next one. So long for now.